Hi all, let's get started with today's session. Yesterday we have seen uh, AWS Lambda, the API gateway, and DynamoDB, right? So we have seen how we have architected a simple application where we connected post and put methods. So and using this API gateway, we created endpoints, and using the endpoints from Postman, we have pushed the data to API gateway. From API gateway, we have written a Node.js based Lambda function where the API will supply the data to that Lambda functions. Based on the function which is got triggered, the Lambda will then push the code back to DynamoDB. So this is what we have seen yesterday. You can, if you have any queries, you can ask now. Otherwise, today we will discuss about cloud formation. Okay. So cloud formation is one of the automation which is automation tool which is provided, a service which is provided by AWS uh, to automate your infrastructure. Let me log into AWS. Yeah. So if you see here, cloud formation is one of the service under management and governance. So you can see here when you click on cloud formation here, so it provides you to create the user interface for stacks and maintain these stacks. So let's discuss what is cloud formation and what is the need for this. What are the advantages of cloud formation? Uh, I'll update this document for API gateway and DB. Okay, what is cloud formation, right? So cloud formation is like, it is used for supporting IaaS. It means infrastructure as a code. So what do you mean by this one? So infrastructure means, right, we have created VPCs, subnets, routables, internet gateways, NAT gateways, security groups, network ACLs. Then we also created EC2 missions, then key pairs and other things. So all these AWS services, we have used AWS console, which is user interface, to create these services. But if you want to create those services, you have other two options. One is you can use AWS CLI, command line interface. Using this, we have seen for S3 how to list the buckets and add the bucket, right? So the other option is cloud formation. So usually cloud formation in Microsoft, every cloud will give an automation for to automate their services. In Microsoft, we have ARM templates, and there are other tools in the market which are familiar and which supports multi-cloud like AWS or GCP, Azure or Oracle Cloud, like that. So that is called Terraform. So Terraform is also one of the solution from Hashcrop organization. So they have one more solution, Packer. This is also a good solution from them. So Terraform is also an tool which provides infrastructure as a code. So what do you mean by infrastructure as a code? So you write a code here, and once you write the code, you can create, build, modify, delete, and update infra-based services, which is nothing but your EC2 missions and other VPCs, all other things what we have discussed, like DynamoDBs or Redshifts, whatever we have done the lab till now, everything can be created using these cloud templates. Okay, now how cloud formation is going to support? What type of language are you going to use? Do you need to learn a new programming language to work with cloud formation? So it's supposed two formats. One is JSON and one other is YAML. So JSON is JavaScript object notation. YAML is int markup language. So so JSON, see YAML is which is very similar to JSON, but YAML will not have the double quotes. If you see in yesterday's session, JSON for every key and value pair, we had the double quotes, right? Except for integers, we didn't have. So similarly, YAML will not have double quotes at all. JSON is it JSON does not depend on indentation. So how you sort, like for example, you sort like this, right? For example, payload. Then you write like this. Then you write items here under this payload. Here you write ID 123. So this is the sample, JSON, what we have seen yesterday, right? So for in JSON, if you see, for every key value pair, it is surrounded with double quotes. So whereas AML is the same copy of JSON, but it will follow indentation. So if you don't provide indentation properly, this will be treated as separate one, this will be treated as separate object. So these both will be not treated under same object, even though they are under same flower brackets, they will be not treated. So you will get indentation errors and all, and also you will not have these codes in YAML. So that's the major difference between JSON and YAML. So so many people based on their convenience, they use JSON or YAML. So YAML is bit clear to see, and it is yeah. So this is how YAML look like, and this is how JSON look like. Okay, so your template might be in any one of this format, or you can also save in dot template format. So dot template is similar to JSON format, what we are going to see. Okay, now let us see what exactly, how exactly you need to start to write a code. Do you need to know about AWS, VPCs, everything? Do you need to buy hat all those? Not mandatorily necessary. You have a very crystal clear document for AWS in order to generate this code from the scratch. So there is a tool called Designer. So this Designer tool is inside the cloud formation. So this allows you to generate, to drag drop and give the connections, and you can generate the templates directly from this, so that you can eliminate writing manually code. Or there are predefined documentation templates. You can click on get started with documentation. So you can go to template library here. So there are sample templates. From these sample templates, you can generate your own templates. Okay. Let me. So these are few templates. So you can see here, right? So if you open any one template, right? So you can see the code, how it look like. So this is the code for your cloud formation. So if you see here, this is in the format of now JSON format, right? So let us put JSON. Okay. So let's understand how this is same for both JSON and YAML. As I told, there are the other difference, like YAML will not will have indentation, and JSON will have the JSON format. Now let us understand what will be there in this template, so that you will know how to add a service, or how to remove the service from template, or how to create this template from the scratch. Okay, mainly you will have four things. One is parameters, mappings, resources, and outputs. So these are the major things. We call it as PMRO, just for the remembrance. P means parameters, M means mappings, R means resources, O means outputs. So this is the template version. So in 2010 9.9, this is the template version, and description you can give any description of your template. So that will be displayed in your user interface. Now what will be there under parameters, right? Say for example, we have downloaded here. So key name. So key name is nothing but, so this is the key value pair for your EC2 instances. Suppose if you want to select, if you want to provide a user interface, So how I will, let me open Paint and show you. Okay, so after you design the template, right, the template, when you load the template, you will get a form like this, the beginning form after loading into the template into the stack. So then you can select here what is the key value pair. Already you will be creating the key value pairs in your EC2, right? Here under EC2 you have key pairs. So suppose if you have created, we have created August 1st key pair. Suppose if you want to load the same key pair, so you are not sure what key pair you need to provide. So under parameters, you will generically give the existing name of existing key pair SSH instance. Then you will get key. So whatever the key will be there, it will be loaded in the user interface. I will load this and I will show you how exactly it will be there loaded. So for example, that is for key pairs. Like that, whatever, say for example, if you want to select any VPC, so if you provide that VPC under parameters, so it will load all the VPCs which are available. So if you want to select any other, let's see, any other, then front end size, back end instance type, okay, instance size, right? Yeah. So for example, you need to select instance, you are launching EC2 instance, okay? So you can say, keep a drop down, and while creating the stack, you can select, so in the parameters, if you give instance type, this will be generated. Later under, I will show you where to give the instance mappings and all. So you can give how many instance types you need to load. Say for example, you want to load only T2 based instance types, you can provide only them in the CloudFormation template, so that whoever is using this CloudFormation template, they can select only those instances. Like this, parameters will allow you to create user defined user interface, so that he can load specific parameters while creating the infrastructure. So here, if you see here, we have provided for key name, which is nothing but key pairs. So description will be there, type will be there, minimum length, maximum length. So for this key pair, so these are the constraints for any parameter. Next is SSH location. So if you see SSH location, so where you want to load this SSH. So if you give this pattern, so this will be automatically picked up. Then instance type is here. So front end EC2 server instance type. So all this, whatever you have provided here, front end EC2 type instance server, right? So you can write your own thing. So Mr. User, select which instance type you want to select. So if you write like this, the same message will be shown in the user interface when user is coming to select for this particular uh, this one. So what are the allowed values here? If you see, the allowed values are T1 micro, M1 small, M1 medium. Suppose if you want to allow only these three, you can remove all other instance types. So like this, you can add for all other services. Suppose if you don't know if the template is not having that particular service, you can just go and search in AWS document. They will give a snippet, copy paste that snippet under after comma. So your new service will be loaded to this template automatically. So this is about parameters. So when it coming to mapping, right? So mapping is like, say for example, instance type is here. So for which one you want to map, say T2.micro, what is the type you want to architecture type and the 64. So here you can also give AMI mappings here. So for example, in as I told, right, every instance type of EC2 will have a unique AMI in different regions. So you can select which AMI you want. This is region AMI. US East 1 means uh, North Virginia. If you see here, East 2 is not there. Suppose if you execute this template in US East 2, so then this will be failed. So suppose if you want to execute in East 2 also, so copy paste and mention this Ohio region is East 2, and you can leave remaining things as it is. So then you can also create this template for this second region, Ohio region. So like this, you can create your own template, you can your own code. So your VPC range, your public subnet range, and your private subnet range, and your resources are nothing but, so in this template you can create this many resources. Okay, first you're going to create a VPC. So for creating VPC, you need to specify the type and properties. So these properties, the CIDRs and all are you can load directly from here. So This is the CIDR. So you already assigned a value for this ADR. So your VPC will be created with this particular range. Like this, each and every, so what we need to remember is, so parameters will contain all the details which are dynamically passed or selected by the user. Mappings will contain what type of mappings we need to map to these particular parameters or AWS services. And resources are, so what resources we can put. These are nothing but AWS services. So now here we are creating VPC. After that, public subnet. After that, internet gateway you are deploying. After that, gateway to internet. Then route tables we are modifying. Then network ACLs we are creating. Then adding the rules for network ACL. After creating network ACL, we are adding some rules here. So these are the rules. So like this, each and every service you can define in this particular cloud formation template. Once you define all this template, right, then you can load this template and execute this template in in the cloud formation. So here, okay. So this is one way. The other way is you can also design your template first. Then you can use this one for creation. Now let us see how to. You have an option here, create template designer. So you have option template is ready, use a sample template. Sample template means already AWS will provide you a few sample templates for things. LAMP tank you have, so which is used to create EC2 instance and local MySQL database for storage. Ruby on Rails for WordPress you have, so other tools you have. So these are default templates. Suppose if you have template ready, like the file what we have seen example now. So like this, if you have template ready, you can load the template either by keeping from S3 bucket, or you can upload the template from here. Okay. Otherwise, you can design a template from the scratch. Okay. So go to the template, create template designer. Okay, so now if you see here, you got a designer template here. So if you see, this is called as a template area, and these are called resource type selection areas. And here we have mappings, parameters, conditions, metadata, and outputs. Okay, one thing I forgot to tell in this template is you will also have outputs. So why these outputs are used means, say for example, you are launching many AWS services and parameters, mappings, resources here, right? So if you want to see what exactly is happening in that one, you can specify that in the output. So for example, uh, I guess this is example for to create a sub VPC, subnets, private tables, network ACLs, and launching EC2 instance and creating a server. After creating server, this is the output URL of the website. We are trying to hit this URL and check what is the response for this one. Like this, you can say, for example, you can also write for VPC output for VPC, whether what VPC ID is created, what VPC name is created. Like that, you can write outputs also in the templates. So basically, we call this to remember easily PMRO, parameters, mappings, and resource output. So these four are the core for this cloud formation template. Okay, so questions here before we see what is designer and how to do with designer.
So Harish,
Yeah,
the template that you were showing, those the sample code was there. So
yeah.
each segment, was it a separate table inside the AWS specifically, or how was it?
So each template.
Yeah, yeah, in the template,
Yeah,
yeah. Each segment, that's a
yeah,
VPC segment and a
yeah,
public subnet.
yeah.
So
So
they represent one table, right? Or
uh,
is one table means one database table, something like that.
no, no, it's nothing related to database or something like that. So for example, what we have done in our initial lab, so we created a VPC. Okay.
Yeah.
So we created VPC, and VPC, under VPC we have created one private subnet and one public subnet, correct? And
Yes.
we have deployed one internet gateway here,
Yeah.
and we have some network load balancers. We have auto scaling groups, and we have
Yes.
EC2 servers for app servers and web servers. So this is your
Yes.
architecture. So
Mm-hmm.
what all you have used? You have used VPC here. You have used subnets. You have used security groups, and you have
Mm-hmm.
internet gateway, and you have
Yeah.
elastic load balancer, and you have EC2. So
Uh-huh.
if you want to do that manually, for you it will take some time. So, and also, what are the drawbacks of doing manually? There are some chances for error prone, right? So every,
Yes, yes. So it's
yeah,
okay. So it is like you're defining a kind of property file. It is just reading it from the property file and generating all
correct.
that it is based on those properties. Okay.
Correct, correct. So first, what we created here. So we need to create VPC. So in this template,
Mm,
so they also done the same thing. So before creating VPC, so they validated what will be the parameters, what are the hard coded
mm,
values. So under parameters, these are the key pairs you should select dynamically what is there in already in that AWS account, and SSH location also it should be dynamic, and instance type also it should be dynamic. Drop down user should be selected that. Like this, whatever user after before selecting this one, user will select. So what are the services which are parameterized? Those configurations you'll keep under parameter, and under mapping you will keep what values needs to pass for these parameters. Okay. Now resources, first what you need to create, you need to create VPC. Later you need to create public subnet, right? So let's assume this is
mm.
the public
Yeah.
subnet. So like that, based on your requirement, so this is sample random one which we have downloaded. Like that, so suppose if you don't need so for example inbound rules, so you can remove this tag. So
Mm.
whatever you need,
Okay.
so suppose here you want elastic load balancer, you don't have elastic load balancer, so you just go here, search here for cloud formation ELB template code. So you will have that specific tags, copy paste the tags, change your name as per your requirement. So this is the one. So type equal to this one, properties is this one. So you can copy paste this one under this particular properties and you can work with that. So that's how, so what are the services you want, you can keep those services, and whichever is not required, you can remove. This is a default template. Don't worry about this. We will create our own
Okay.
template here for.
So Harish, are these the name and all those things, the keys which are being provided, are they kind of the reserved text in the AWS or what, so that it
Yeah, yeah.
identifies, okay, I have to do
Yeah,
this? Yeah.
yeah. So for example, you want to load a private elastic load balancer. This how you can load. If you see here, here you have specified right type AWS colon elastic load balancer. So this is the key, sorry, value which AWS will identify. It is a load balancer. Then
Okay.
if you go to the properties, then you will have the related key and values for this.
Mm.
Okay,
Sure.
so
Yeah.
see, it's not required for you to buy out all these,
No, no, no,
set of,
just trying to
yeah,
actually, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So in general, I'm telling it's not required for anyone to. No one can keep this. Remember. So the only thing, the only way how we can do is first understand what you want to create. For understand your architecture, what it is. So in that, so I will also tell what are the best practices. Every day you no need to create and delete VPCs, subnets, and all. This one-time activity which we are going to do, right? So it's not required for us to do. So first, let us see how simple cloud formation template we can deploy and use that. Later, I will tell what are the best practices on what to do with cloud formation and what not to do. Okay. So any other questions?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Harish.
Yeah, no. Okay. So now let us what we are doing. Yeah. So we have a tool called Designer. So in the Designer, you can select what are the services you want, put those services inside this Designer. Then you can map what type of relation between those AWS services are there. Then you can generate your template code automatically here. Some people will prefer this manually writing is too time taking, and learning is a process. So for the newbies, this is a good option. So for example, you want to launch EC2 instance, right? So you have different services here, VPCs and other things and all. So go to your EC2. Here you have EC2. So under EC2, again, you have different EC2 services, what is available here. So select your instance, drag and drop it here. Okay, now our EC2 instance is generated. Okay, now you can give a name for this instance. So for example, demo EC2 mission. So once you save this one, this will be outdated. the demo server will be outdated. You need to come and refresh here. Okay. Then after launching this one, you need to put in security group. So drag drop your security group. And
Harish, sorry, when you said that it's outdated, what do you mean by outdated actually
see,
in this
for
one?
example, yeah. So for example, you have selected one component here. So for example, EC2. So this is some random name it came. You give demo EC2 mission. Okay. When you save this one, the designer is outdated. Means all you have renamed one of the JSON key value key, but in the designer it is with still with ECI 2K. So if you come and refresh here, it will also be renamed with this one, so that your code
Okay,
and your diagrams will be aligned together. Okay, and security
okay,
groups. So EC2 security group. So again, you need to refresh because we have changed the default. So like this, say for example, if you want to put some S3 bucket, go to your S3. Under S3 you have bucket. So put that bucket. So you can connect this bucket to EC2 instance. Suppose if you want to change the name of bucket, here you can give August 1st EC2 bucket. Okay. So you cannot use these symbols and all. Okay, so this is like this. You have designed your some your components. Okay, so for this, if you want to create a template code, so click on the template. So you can copy paste this code and check. So so now we have not added many components here, right? So go to language. So if you see here, even if you add single component, so your format will be like this. You need to have your metadata, you need to have your resources. Since we are not parameterizing anything here, when you load this template, right, this default template, it will not ask user any options to select key paste or to select any other things. It will automatically push you and it will generate your cloud formation design. So this is one way you can create. Suppose if you don't know anything how to create, but when you are creating like this, right, so you need to understand what is the link between this one. So when you link like this, what link is this one? So all those things you need to understand. So for you, it will take some time to learn this process. But try to take. I will give a few use cases you can practice when you are doing for these cloud templates. So and in the designer, you can copy paste this either in you can generate in JSON or YAML, or you can directly from here you can create a stack here. So if you click on this one, it will directly upload to S3 bucket. From S3 bucket, the stack will be created, or you can so there is option for you to download this diagram. What diagram you have generated using this template, so you can download the diagram and you can view the diagram here. So this is the diagram relation. Okay, now let us do one simple template. So which will load same template EC2, and we have security group for this EC2, and a key value pair is assigned for this one, and a S3 bucket. Okay, so I already have done this template. So I will share this. I'll open. Let me open the template. Downloads. So if you see here, I have parameters, mappings, resources, and outputs. Under parameters, I want to create what key pairs, right? So I want to create key pair, and I want to select the instance type. Instance type is EC2, and SSH location. So this, when I create key pair, by default SSH location also should be there, right? So that is the one. So under mappings, what instance type and architecture, what AMI we should select. I kept only two types here. We can also give many types. I removed all those and I kept only two types here. And the resources, EC2 will be there, instance security group will be there, S3 bucket will be there. Outputs, I'm verifying the instance ID, whether what instance is created, and in which availability zone it is created, and what is the public DNS. So to connect this EC2 mission, we want this public DNS, right, and public IP address. So these are the things under output which I'm going to check. Okay, this is a sample template. I'll share this template with you in the drive itself. You can download from there. Okay, so how to expand this?
And Harish, on top of it, there's a version is there. So does that make any difference if it is not?
No, so this is, template versions. There are different AWS template versions. Some in 2010 they have released few versions, and in 2012 I guess they have released few versions. This doesn't matter. You just keep this as it is. Okay, you can write description also
Okay,
here for this template, but I have kept minimal so that you will understand better. So first,
sure.
let's do this one, because see, nowadays cloud formation only few people will use, because it is a service which is provided by AWS. So usually people will use Terraform. So Terraform is also a similar tool, and you there in Terraform also you will have similar coding, like you will have variables, you will have Terraform variables, and you will have mappings, and you will have parameters. So using this the same type of architecture Terraform also followed, but Terraform is more matured than cloud formation. Okay, so many people will prefer Terraform rather than cloud formation, because Terraform is supports multi-cloud, and also in AWS the stability and the robustness is more high than this one. Okay, so let's copy this template. Okay, I saved in download folder. Let's create one stack, and we'll see whether that stack is executing as desired or not. Hmm, let me go to services. So as I told, right, we already have template which I showed right now. Then either I can upload that to S3 bucket and pass the bucket URL here, or I can upload here directly from local. So if you go to downloads, yeah, this is the template. Um, so I can view, say for example, you are bringing a template from your project manager or from your parallel project, similar architecture which you want to follow. Then you can bring upload, and you view this in designer how exactly the template is created. So I will I'll load in designer and see. So this is how the template is there in the designer. Now you have seen, right, what is the relation between these two security groups, EC2s and other things. So now let us deploy this from here using a stack option. So we will be able to deploy here from the stack option. Okay, so go to next. So you need to provide a stack name. So what stack name we need to use here for the templates? Uh, Go to the stack name and let us give this as, give some valid name. So what exactly we are doing here? Okay, let me write this one. Launch EC2 security groups, then key pairs, S3 bucket. So EC2 SG, so EC2 security groups, key pairs, and S3. So like this, you give a name so that you will understand for what exactly the stack you are using for. Or you can give your own names, like say for example it is a stack which is used only to run your regression test cases after a deployment at Friday evening 5 o'clock. After the execution, say for example your test cases will execute for 2 hours. Say for example every Friday evening 5 o'clock developer is giving build, okay, 5 p.m. Now as a tester you will take this, you need to create a environment where you want to have a EC2 mission, take that particular war file, deploy this into Tomcat server, okay, Tomcat server. Then you have your regression suits in code commit, okay. So you need to download those regression suits. Then in this EC2 mission, you need to run this particular Selenium test cases or API test cases. So let's assume this test cases will run for 1.5 hours. After this one, you want to terminate complete infrastructure. Okay. So if you want to do this manually, how many things you want to do? First thing is you want to launch your EC2 mission. Second thing is you want to pull manually code from code commit. Third thing is you want to deploy, install required softwares like Apache Tomcat and Selenium or API testing tools. Fourth thing, you want to deploy this deployment one. Fifth thing is you want to download again your test suites from code commit. Sixth one is configure testing things, health check. Seventh one, you need to execute. Eighth one, you need to send the reports. So 8 steps you want to do this manually, right? But this every Friday you want to do this one. Every Friday, whenever the developer is pushing the build to environment, you need to do. So this very time taking task, right? In these scenarios, now what you can do, so what all the things you need here from AWS services, you want EC2 mission as a first one, and second one, what is required, you want to download the code from code commit, so you can use the AWS CLI commands, or you can write a shell script file which will be doing that one. For entire this one, either you can do from shell script or you can do from cloud formation as well. And third one, you want to install all the required softwares using user data, we can do that. And fourth one, you want to deploy, so again you can use your invoke a shell script. And fifth one, you need to set up your code commit for testing artifacts download. Fifth one, you can execute. Like this, you can create a cloud formation template for all your services. EC2 service is there, Keybase is there, all other services is there. Automatically, what will happen? 5 p.m. you will get an email. Based on the email trigger, you will trigger a code commit job here. Once that job is triggered, this cloud formation template should trigger. What this cloud formation will do? Create EC2, download code, install the softwares, upload a test artifacts, execute the code, generate the results, and email you. Then again, it will destroy the infrastructure. So how much time you're using here? 1.5 hours your execution time, and let's assume half an hour for creation and deletion of the infrastructure. Within 2 hours, without any manual efforts, automatically it will create infrastructure, execute your test cases, and destroy infrastructure, and results will be in your email. That's the beauty of infrastructure as a code. Any queries here? So either when they ask you an interview, right, you can give the examples like this. So we have a build which is coming every evening 5 p.m. So whatever the example I have given, we can give the same example to the interviewer so that they will be convinced. So these are the real-time use cases where cloud formation is used. So yes, I agree. You can create VPCs, subnets, everything from cloud formation, but these VPC subnet security groups are one-time tasks. Now in the first week itself, we have created. After that, does anyone deleted VPC and recreated VPCs? No, right? So it's a one-time task. So what you need to understand what we need to create one time and what. So usually EC2s, S3 buckets, then databases. Those are the repetitively used one. Only for those services you can use cloud formation. Other services which are one-time activities you can manually create either through CLI or through command line interface. Sorry, through execution. Sorry, cloud console. Okay, so now you can give a valid name. So the name would be like EC2 SG security group uh, uh, regression test, regression tests. Then parameters, you have seen our template here, right? So in parameters under instance type, so if you see here allowed instances, we have passed only 2 instances here. So that's why only 2 instances are visible. Suppose if you add more, right, like M2 nano, T2 nano, and load this one, those 4 will be again visible here. Okay.
So
And also,
Harish, in this case, it will launch two instance with these two types, is it?
no, here these are the current available instance types which can launch in this particular stack. in this particular stack. Okay, so if you want other instances like M2 or something from
Yeah,
among
but
this,
in this
yeah.
case, there are two currently, right? Two of those, isn't it?
Two
So
of those, but we are selecting only one micro. You are
only
selecting.
one. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
got it.
yeah. So if you see here, there is a text here, right? Web server EC2 instance type. So if you see here, the text will be under instance type. Go to your parameter under instance type. So if you see the description, this is the description: web server EC2 instance type. So if you can modify here, I can say ABCD. So if I save this one and if I reload this template again, go to create stack, upload file, go to downloads. So if you see here, this has been done. So this is the user interface which we are using, generating using this cloud formation template.
Yeah.
Okay. So now here we can add multiple instance types. So for example, I will copy paste this one. So make sure that you are not giving any mistake in the JSON format. So if you are not clear whether this is correct or not, so just go and format it one using jsonlint.com. Validate. So it will show you valid JSON. Okay. So here, let's say M1 micro. So like this, now we have added few other instance types, right? Let me save this one and reload this template. Upload file. So you can see the additional ones which are added here. Okay. Since M1 micro and M2 micro nano, these are all duplicated, right? So only once it has been shown. Okay, let us select T1 micro and key name. Okay, I have logged in with a different account. Yeah. I'm not sure whether. Okay, I have this key. Let's try. So if you go to my EC2 console, okay, go to key pairs. So I have two key pairs here. One is RBC, one is ABCD. So I guess this should be the key. I was doing some lab. So let us try with this. Otherwise, let's recreate the stack again if it don't work. Okay. So let me select RBC key pair. And here you can give only particular IP address range. Either if I want to log in from mine, I can give only my IP address, or CIDR range you can specify here from which location we need to do the SSH. So go to next. Here we can give the tag names. Let us give as regression test execution environment. So I don't have any IAM role to be assigned to this one. And stack policy. So these are general things. You can go to this one. If you want, like for example, we have uh, policy generator, right? Using the policy documents. Either if you want to upload any stack policy, we can provide it here, or let us give no policy for now. And notification setups, SNS topics you can do. Or so for example, here there is option. Say for example, you selected, we have EC2, we have S3 bucket, we have key pairs, and we have security groups. So 4 services we are creating, right? So while creating security group, it was success. While creating key pairs, it was success. But while generating EC2 instances, it failed. It was not able to, due to some reason, AMI ID was not found or something like that. It failed. Then if you select the rollback and failure option enable means, even whatever the instance it is created, like security groups or key pairs, even after visible also, they will delete these ones after. So that's the rollback enablement. If you disable one, so wherever it is failed, it will get stopped there, and other instances, whatever is created, it will be left as it is. Clear why rollback is used? And termination policies is like, so for example, when you enable this termination policies, so when you're trying to delete stack, it will ask you not to disable this one and then come, similar to EC2 and other load balancers or auto scaling groups. Now I'll enable this one and go to next. So you can give some timeout also. So for example, stack creation. If we give 5 minutes, it will wait for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, still if it is failure, then it will start roll back. It will remove other options which are created. Okay. So next, so you can review whatever we have selected in the stack and create a stack. As soon as I click on create stack, right? So you can see the stack information here. What is the stack ID and what exactly is there in this particular stack. And if you come on under events, it will start creating all the things what we have told. So for example, initially started creating that stack, then started creating security group. Security group creation is progress. Security group is completed. Creation is completed. Now if you refresh, again EC2 creation is in progress. Like that, one by one, it will start generating all those things, all those services. So let's refresh. So now EC2 is also done. Now S3 bucket is getting in progress. So now you can go and verify. So we already declared output, right? So you can go under outputs. Okay, still it's not generated. Under outputs, we can see whatever EC2 mission name, whatever we have declared in the template. So if you see here, these are the resources which are already created. Okay, S3 bucket is there, instance security group is there, EC2 is created with the key pair what we have told. Now let us try, you can directly access those from here. Suppose if you want to go to the security group, click on this one, it will automatically take to the security group. Okay, and you can check the inbound rules. We have allowed only SSH 22, right? And outbound rules all traffic, because we don't know under which port it will come, right? And so you can go through S3 bucket. So bucket is already created. So nothing is there in the bucket. So this is the EC2 SG KP3 regression test suits S3 bucket. So why we create these buckets and all, right? So for example, you executed your test cases. If you want to store the results file, push back to this bucket, and when you delete the instances one, you can retain this bucket so that you can come and check this bucket for your results. Okay, and so go to your EC2 instance. Okay, now you have your EC2 instance which is running here. So regression test environment. Now let us see trying connecting to this EC2 machine. Authentication. Yep. So you are able to successfully connect to this EC2 machine. Clear? So we have not manually created any EC2 machine here under EC2 dashboard. So we directly opened EC2 dashboard. So already instance was created using CloudFormation stack. So the stack is running this complete environment. So nothing is manual. We have not added security group. We have not added key pair. We have not added a select S3 bucket or EC2 machine. So everything was automated directly through stack. Now you might ask one question. What happens when I delete this stack, right? When you delete the stack, all the resources, whatever you have declared, will be deleted automatically. Okay. So let's see other options. What is there here? So now we can see the status as create complete, and we can, these are the events. Similar in auto scaling group, we can see, right, what are the events, what exactly is happening in each and every moment. Similarly, here we can see these are the events, what request is getting created, what, like that. And under resources, you can see what are the resources, AWS services which is created. Under outputs, you can see. So we have specified in our outputs instance ID, availability zone, public DNS, and public IP. So availability zone is US West 2C. I am in Oregon region, and the instance ID is this one. And public DNS, we have connected using this through our PuTTY tool, and public IP address is this one. Okay, clear. And parameters. So these are the parameters which we passed while selecting the creating the stack, and these are the same parameters which are there here. Key name, instance type, and SSH location. Instance type, key name, SSH location, and template. So you can also see what template we have uploaded. Suppose while creating, if you see any discrepancy, you can come and check. Okay, our template is having this mistake, so that's why it is created like that. Okay, and change sets. So for example, you also have other options here like termination protection is self-explanatory. Everyone knows this. View drift results and detect drift is there, right? If you click on detect drift, so it will go and check. Go to the events. Yeah. So what it will do is, say for example, initially when you create, this is your creation, right? So now any change, say for example, your EC2 instance ID is changed, or you have changed the security group for this particular EC2 instance. All of a sudden you will be working. Now you want to allow the traffic for HTTP also. So you'll go to here. So right click and you will under the security groups you will add the inbound rules and other things, right? So when you change those ones, this drift results will show you what changes user has done for that. Okay, then create change set. So this is cloud template, and you can also, I'll share you one link where you can download many templates. AWS has provided default templates here. Okay, so I have extracted here a few templates. So this many templates AWS is providing by default. So let us take any one complex template and execute and check how exactly it is creating. Public DNS. Can we take this one? Resources. Okay. If you see here, we have VPC, we have subnet creation, we have internet gateway, we have attached gateway, route table, routes, subnets, network ACLs. So I'm not sure what exactly they have kept inside this one. Network ACL is there. Subnet ACL association they have done. IP address. Okay. Web server instance IP only they're fetching. Web server. Okay, they're launching EC2 also. Install simple application. Install simple application. Okay, so they are launching EC2 mission. They are installing simple application. So if they want to install, they need to write something in user data. So if you remember, when we are creating EC2 instance, we wrote this one, right? User data. So here also they're providing what? So AWS bootstrap config. Okay, signal stack name web server region. Okay, they're installing a web server here, and they're running the server. So this is what they're doing. Creation policy. Yeah. Outputs. Okay. So after creating all these things, right? So VPC, subnets, internet gateways, network ACLs, and other things. So then they are verifying some URL whether that instance is up or not. So newly created application URL. So this is one of the template. Let's pick this one. So you can download this from this URL. Okay. Management console. I guess I have bookmarked this one. Mm. Okay, I'll share you the link of that one. So even I have downloaded this template from this location. So this is the CloudFormation templates master. So when you extract this folder, you can see all these demo templates. Okay. So in that I have picked one to show whether VPC will be created or not. Let's try to import this template. Okay. Copy this path.
So Harish, when we are using these templates and all, and we actually create all those resources, so we don't need to create those notification and those kind of things just to remind that if we have left anything running and then we need to terminate it or not, because it will automatically terminate if we terminate the template, right?
Correct. So if you delete the stack, all the resources will be removed.
Hmm.
Okay.
And
So
okay,
I'll delete the stack and I'll show you. Click on delete. So delete started in progress. You can go and check in the. So it's, you can see already my EC2 has been disconnected. So if you go here and refresh the security group, so it's that EC2 mission is terminated, and even bucket would be removed from S3 location. So just refresh this one. See, okay. So when you remove the stack, all the resources will be removed completely. Okay, delete complete. Now let's create one more stack template. Let's upload the template which we have discussed now. We explained VPC with single yes. So if you see in designer, the architecture for this one would be a bit more complex because we have multiple VPCs and other things, right? So if you see here, let me download this one. So this is the architecture for your things. So you have inbound rules, outbound rules. These are security groups, network ACL group, and you have instance here, and you have root tables here, web server here configured, and this in complete VP, every entire thing is in complete VPC, and you have internet gateway, you have elastic IP associated for this particular EC2 instance, this one, and we have subnet, we have root table. So this is how it look like. Okay, let's quickly try to deploy this one. Go to next, give the name like VPC creation. So now if you see here, I guess there are a lot of instances here. Let us go here, go to parameters, instance type, and allowed values are too many are there, right? So whatever the allowed values are there, all those values you can see here. Okay. So let's select T2 micro, T1 micro. And key name, let me give RBC and location from anywhere. Stack options, enroll like disable. So you can also estimate your cost. Say for example, for this VPC, for all the CloudFormation template, right? You can see how much cost it will charge you. And the calculator, they have given the API directly to calculator. Let's see if it is giving. No, I guess there is some API. Even I have not tried. There is some API command. You can give this stack, the template path, and using the sorry, this one, the template URL, and if you pass through calculator, it will automatically give you the final value for this particular ones. So if you want, if you are interested, you can check that. And instance type is T2, key name is RBC. Yeah, yeah. So let's create the stack. Now let's see, let us close other tabs here. First thing is, let's launch VPC. So if you go to events and refresh here, first one would be VPC, then internet gateway, then this is the one VPC. I deleted all my VPCs except August 1st. Sorry, default, oh, these other ones, right? Okay. So now if you see here, this is the CADR range, I guess. So now if you go to subnets, it will be subnets also is created here. Yeah, this is the subnet creation is done. Then all the security groups, inbound rules, route tables, everything is getting created here. Okay, I'll go to internet gateway. So this was my test account. I had only one, one internet gateway, which was default. So now if you see here, VPC creation August 1st, this is the one which we have given the name, right, for our stack. So our stack has created internet gateway. It has attached this for this particular VPC. If you click on this VPC, this is the VPC creation August 1st, which we created. And like this, if you check everything, whatever we have given inside this cloud formation template would be created automatically. Subnets creation is done, route tables, internet gateways. So questions. So if you see under resources, these are the resources till now it's created: VPC, subnets, subnet tables, routes, instance security groups, then network inbound rules, outbound rules, attaching the gateway. So till now it is created. And events. So EC2 server, it is creating EC2 server now. So any queries here? Anything that you have not understood? See, all you need to know is how exactly you need to understand this high level things. So what are parameters, what are mappings, resources, and output. Okay. Now under output, we will get a URL. If you click that URL, by default, some web page should be there. So if you see here, if you want to manually create all these things, how much time it will take for you? It takes almost half a day or one day, right? In order to check the document, check the architecture diagrams and create. So it's a one-time task. So if you generate and keep, so usually how people will follow is they create for QA, the same thing they'll replicate with the UAT parameter change names, then the same thing they replicate to production, so that all the three systems will be aligned in nature. Okay, so go to
Yeah,
your.
that's what I was about to ask. Because is it better to actually create this way or individually? So it seems that it is better to create this way.
Yeah, it's better to create this way, but one thing you need to understand is what exactly you need to automate using cloud templates and what not to automate, right? So if you see
Hmm.
here, and if you go to resources, so these are not activities or tasks which you will automate daily. I mean, create daily and delete daily. VPC, subnets, internet gateways, attached gateways, route tables, routes, subnets, network ACLs. Okay. So these things you might, based on your requirement, you might create or you might not create. So let's assume these are changing every time. And IP addresses also based on your requirement. Instance security group also is based on your requirement. Now if you are coming to web server instance, right, so this is something which will create daily. EC2 instance you can create daily, delete daily. So generate all these things manually. Now under EC2 instance, and so other things like S3 buckets or Redshift databases or other things, you whatever is changeable, like for example in our first stack what we created, right, so those are the things which you commonly create. So for example here, Go to resources, easy to missions, instance security groups, and S3 buckets. So these are the things which we common say. I gave a use case, right? How when you want to create these ones, when you want to do ad hoc testing and terminate the infrastructure, execute this cloud template. Within 2 minutes, we got all the infrastructure. The code would be downloaded. If you would have written completely automate, end-to-end automate, everything will be executed within 10 to 15 minutes, and the infrastructure would be terminated. So like these scenarios only try to use cloud formation, or for other scenarios like VPC creation and other things and all, it's a one-time activity. It's better to create manually and keep it ready. Or if you have a requirement like every week, Friday I want to terminate complete infrastructure and Monday morning I want to regenerate means, yes, for that scenarios, generate the template and you can use the template.
Yeah, thanks, Harish.
No worries. So any questions here? If you see here, all our events are completed. The complete cloud formation, what we have done is successful. Can someone summarize today's session?